everyone, and welcome to the Talkoffame podcast. I'm Kylie, and I'm super excited for today's episode because we have we have Maya Sikand joining us today. I've been following Maya for a while, and she has been doing amazing work in her home state of New Jersey. A little bit about her: she's a New Jersey State Director for the Youth Legislative Action Center. A lot of what they do is trying to get youth civically engaged through letter writing. Right now, she's working with her executive board to organize a voter registration drive and launch a social media project that will discuss current events in a way that's digestible for teens. She also wrote a civics curriculum for the state of New Jersey. She is the chief of staff for future change makers, and they recently became a nonprofit by working with an organization called Hack Club. They are also in the process of creating a conference for students to explore different career paths and engage and network with people in different fields. Lastly, she's also the National Secretary for Elect Societies, which is an organization for future lawyers. They have planned successful speaker events and working towards creating a program for the high school students to learn about criminal and constitutional law. Maya, what can you do? Thank you so much for coming on the podcast to chat with us. We're super excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, how did you kind of get involved in politics and law?
So when I was younger, I think I always wanted to be a lawyer. Like that was my biggest dream. I was always like, this is such a cliche, but I was always like arguing with people and like really set in my ways, trying to like defend my little standpoints. And then kind of like shortly after that, like when I was in fourth grade, I really started getting involved in politics, with the presidential elections, like the 2015 like primaries into the election. That was something that was like always on in my house, and that's really how I started getting more involved.
Ooh, I love that. Have you ever seen Law and Order SVU by any chance?
I've seen like clips. I haven't gotten the chance to watch the show yet.
Oh, really? You should definitely check it out. I think you'll definitely love it because I'm a big Law and Order girl. So I was curious to see if you watch it. It's really amazing. If you ever watch it, let me know. But it's really an amazing show. I think you'll definitely like it.
I'll check it out.
But how did you guys kind of get youth engaged through your letting writing program?
So with YLAC, we try to get youth engaged through letter writing, by figuring out what issues matter to them. And usually that has a lot to do with issues regarding young people, whether that's education related issues or issues related to civics and making it easier for people to learn about civics, or financial literacy laws, trying to get older, politicians and just politicians in general to pay attention to youth is important. And that's how we try and reach out to people and get them interested in that.
Yeah, that's seriously awesome because it's very important to kind of get youth involved in politics because, of course, when you're in politics, especially in your youth, it's very important to kind of get our standpoints on things and also get different perspectives on different things. But how did you kind of get your voice heard with different politicians in your county and different politicians all over the world and especially in the United States?
So I think one of the best ways to do that is to reach out to them. And you can do this by letter writing. In New Jersey, I don't know how other states have it, but for New Jersey, we have like a website with all of the representatives and their contact information. That way you can reach out to their offices, and or you can like fax them. Some have their phone numbers on there, so you can call them. And I think those are all, great ways to get in touch. Um, it's just a matter of like trying to do your research and figure out ways you can get in contact with them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But it's the key to really making change is also working with local politicians, whether it's like your county or the county near you, or also different states, because it's very important to really connect with them. Be like, okay, well, can I get your voice? Can I tell you about this certain topic that I don't think, well, you think don't do a lot, It's very important to kind of do that. But Like how what type of letter writing does the Action Center do? Like is there any specific kind of like letters and writing specifically that they do?
Um, I wouldn't say there's like a specific type of letter. It's more like it's supposed to be somewhat personal and also professional at the same time, which I know is kind of like hard to do, but it's
Yeah.
more of like, hey, to whoever your politician is, like you're reaching out to them and you're saying, hey, this is an issue I care so much about, and this is why I think it's important. And I think you should support this because of these reasons. Like
Hmm.
it's incorporating how you feel because I think as humans we're very inclined to seeing like different people's emotions and hearing their like feelings attached to a topic, but also um you have to have the facts there for people to have like concrete support at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Because when reaching out to a politician, like they kind of want to know, like, why should I support this? Like, why is the reason you're reaching out? Like, why should I support this cause that you support? Just because I know like a lot of politicians want to focus on something that's important to them, not something that is not really important to people in their area. So it's really important to really just write from the heart and write it kind of both professionally and personally to really just kind of write a little letter to really just stick out to them so it could be a matter that they took in their hands.
Yeah.
But like did you kind of see like any change with the letter writing program?
So with other states, because New Jersey hasn't really had so much of a chance to do a lot of letter writing yet, but I've seen that a lot of other states have had a lot of success with letter writing and making like those little wins and little victories where they're getting people to listen to them and hear them out. And with New Jersey, I think what we've seen with letter writing or just like outreach by sending emails to politicians is that they have a lot of respect for youth, especially those who are trying to get involved. um so when I reached out to some local senators, and I asked them, like, would you be interested in, hearing about what NJYLAC does and, potentially supporting us in the future, helping us get our voices out there. A lot of them were very receptive to that. So I think those are the things that letter writing can do. That's the impact that it can have.
Yeah, it definitely could like be like that because when people like especially youth reach out, they would probably rather listen to youth rather than adults because like it's very rare to see youth taking action, especially at a young age. It's very important for youth to really get involved and really just try to make the world a better place. So like when we reach out to local senators or politicians, it can most likely, if you reach out, maybe 9% of the time they reach back and are interested because you're youth and you're making a change. That's really like it's very rare to see a youth making change in politics. So it's very important to really just reach out and see if they would like to listen and maybe schedule a meeting or try to make change in supporting.
Yeah. And usually they're pretty receptive with that, which is great.
It is perfect because I know with not a lot of politicians, some of them do not like to do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like most of them like to like kind of support and really just love to hear from other people as well.
Mhm.
But do you think Gen Z votes less than millennials? If so, why?
Um, so from what I've seen is that I think with the 2022 midterms, we saw that Gen Z actually had a higher like turnout than most generations did with their midterms. And I think that's great. So I wouldn't really say that Gen Z has been voting less. Obviously, Gen Z hasn't had everyone eligible to vote yet. So I think that's something we'll see in the future, and I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think that there is this sentiment amongst younger people that the vote doesn't matter, and that, you know, when you cast a vote, it's just going into a pile with dozens of other people, so you don't have that chance to make a difference. And obviously, that's not true in the slightest, but I do think that is a sentiment that's very prevalent amongst younger people, and that definitely deters people from voting. So I'm interested in seeing how that plays out, and I hope that's one misconception about voting that sort of gets cleared up.
Yeah, like you said, like with Gen Z, like not everyone is allowed to vote yet as a Gen Z, but I'm curious to see what the 2024 elections will look like in terms of Gen Z voters. And I'm sure like there's gonna be tons of new voters in 2024 with the election, with electing a president and basically trying to make a world that's safe and making a world a better place. But like, how do you think future change makes work closely with Hack Club? Like, how does it kind of work closely with them?
So Future Change Makers just recently started a partnership with Hack Club. And what we're trying to do with Hack Club is like use them sort of for funding and like resources. Obviously, they're not, so what Hack Club does is they help organizations achieve like nonprofit status. And there are a lot of perks that we get with working from Hack Club. So they're helping us set up a lot of the essentials we need, that we wouldn't be able to do without a lot of funding. So we get like a Google Workspace, we get a card that we can use, we get a domain.
Mhm.
And these are all things that come free for like the first year or so. And that's gonna help us so much. So I think Hack Club will definitely help us scale up the, I guess, resources that we have in order to make sure that we ultimately have a more sophisticated, cleaner looking conference.
Yeah, you're so right because with having a collaboration that will give you so much is a great way to kind of boost your organization or nonprofit because when organizations collab together, it will basically kind of help each organization grow because with that's the meaning of collaborations that they work to make their organizations bigger but also making the world bigger, whether it's like making a domain, doing making an event or something small that will help and benefit both organizations will really just help boost really just how they do things. And even if it costs something, it will mean that at least you put in the effort to really just try to make a difference and also try to help build your platform in your organization. But like, how do you think the social media project will help students with current events that is going on right now?
So with YLAC and our social media project, we are trying to help people understand current events in a more digestible way. Because I know the news and just like even those like posts that you see online, they can throw out a lot of like jargon that isn't, you know, it's not very comforting to see. It's something that you're like, this looks intimidating. It's a lot of words, it's a lot of terms I've never heard before. So what I wanted to do with the rest of my executive board for NJYLAC is create a social media project that presents all of this information about policy on a national and state level and about our elected officials in a way that makes sense for young people. Because when you hear things about like, oh, this politician is being indicted on corruption charges, or this politician is, facing backlash for this, what does that mean? And
Yeah.
so what I want to do is break that down for people, break down who the politician is, what they stand for, why this is happening, or what this policy is, what does it mean? What does it mean for younger people? And if you're upset about it, what you can do to change that.
Yeah, that is such an excellent idea because, like, with having current events and keep the people up educated, because, like, with having a world like we do today, it's very important to kind of keep, um, each other educated, especially younger generations. I know like, a lot of people our age don't like to really pay attention to news or pay attention to what's going on right now. So it's very kind of important to kind of gather some people together and really just create a little something to really to talk about what's going on and be like, why is this person being indicted or why is this person getting kicked out of office? Like just kind of get that little detail into like what's going on with this person or like what do they stand for, what do they believe in, like no matter if you might disagree or agree or disagree with their views, like it's very important to pay attention to what's going on, just so in case something happens in the future with like with a different person, like, okay, well, I've seen this. Maybe is there something I can do to help? Or if someone asks, is wondering, maybe I can help them and tell them and give them a little information about it, because any like of information that you have can be very helpful.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a lot to do with also just critical thinking and like helping people make decisions for themselves, especially because I think that a lot of young people um like sort of end up regurgitating whether what they see online or see from their friends or family. And I think by doing this, our goal is to ultimately help people think for themselves and draw their own conclusions. And have a better understanding of things rather than just hearing it from the same people.
You're so right. And like what type of career paths do you guys plan on featuring during the conference that you guys are planning?
So for future change makers, we're planning on showing like a bunch of different career paths. We want to have people from law, politics, medicine, arts, engineering, social media, um, and there's more there because these careers are so like important to learn about. I think we have education as well. Um, and there's what we're trying to do is sort of create an accessible conference for people to join and make it easier for people who may not have the opportunities to hear more about these career paths or network with people to explore these different career paths in STEM and in humanities and sciences to figure out what they want to do and meet people who can help them do that.
Ooh, I love that. I'll definitely be checking out that conference. Seems like something I'd be interested in. I think everyone would, if that's listening to this episode, would be definitely interested too. But like, what is like the hardest kind of part about being involved in politics and law?
So I think the hardest part, especially as a younger person, is making sure you are being heard and that your voice is heard and respected by older people. And I have run into this a few times where, you may be the youngest person in the room and then your opinion isn't validated because of your lack of experience. And I think that is truly the hardest part. People will see older people and hear them talking about politics and immediately assume that they know more about whatever it is that they're talking about simply because they're older and they've seen more. And I don't think this is always the case. I think young people have a interesting perspective to bring into the conversation, regardless of whether they can vote or not. And I think it's so important that politicians and just people interested in politics take the time to listen to what younger people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the same, I think, can be said about law, but it's more of just like having people present you with an opportunity. Because I think in both, the struggle for young people is finding opportunities. Because, like I said, people aren't willing to listen to young people a lot of the time. So that makes it harder to find something, whether it's like an internship or just trying to, like, you know, have people hear your idea on something, whether that's in law or in politics. People aren't always going to listen and people aren't always going to respect that. And I think you have to find um politicians who will and groups of people who can help you uh like create a voice and a platform for yourself.
Yeah, like I totally agree what you just said, because like especially being young and involved, it's like when people see young people like involved in politics, they sometimes most likely don't take them seriously because they're young, and sometimes not a lot of people know what they're doing or they still have a lot of experience. Like even if you don't have a lot of experience, like you can also build that, and basically in case like you're like educated watching books, or well reading books, watching TV or something, you can be educated without any experience, you know what I mean? So it's like without having really like a job experience related or volunteer experience, it can really just kind of turn people off and be like, how you know something, you've never had a job like this before. Like it's kind of can turn people off, but then it's like even though people might doubt, like, okay, well, why are you doing this? Blah blah blah. And but you can actually do it, even if people say this because you're young doesn't mean you can do it, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, how do you deal with hate and criticism, especially in this field? Because I know this law and politician field, like you can deal with a lot of criticism about your views, what you say, what you do. Like, how do you typically kind of deal with that?
So I think like 3 or 4 years ago, I was getting like a lot of hate from different people for voicing my like political opinions and stuff online. And it wasn't like a ton of people were flooding me with like hate messages. It was like a few people would see me post something and then they would respond with like a nasty message calling me like stupid, saying I don't know anything. And at that time, I felt like I was obligated to respond and obligated to get into a debate with them and argue. Um,
Mhm.
and I found that that's like not the healthiest thing to do because
Yeah,
I was getting so stressed and so worked up about people who really weren't interested in changing their mind. So now whenever I get hate, I really just try to ignore it. Um, Oftentimes I'll just say, listen, I might not agree with you, but this is your opinion and you're entitled to have it. It's just not one that I agree with. And I'll leave it there because
yeah.
it's really not worth getting into a petty argument with someone who won't want to hear what you're saying.
Mm.
Um, but with criticism, I think if someone has genuine, like constructive criticism, I'm open to hearing it. I really want to work to improving myself and making
Yeah.
sure that, my views are ones that, I'm making a good decision with my views. So if someone has something that is a genuine criticism that they think like is a flaw with a view that I have, I'm totally willing to hear that with an open mind.
Yeah, because even if someone like gives you a bunch of criticism, it's always good to really just kind of hear that criticism, even if it's hard, because it's always good to kind of hear someone else's opinion, but also a great way to really improve yourself. But especially with dealing with hate, like it's very easy to really just go back and forth arguing. But honestly, like it's not worth the argument because it's not going to change the other person's opinion, like you said, because of course everyone has different opinions, and of course everyone has something to say, and so it's like it's something that I deal with all the time, because like with me, like I'm just always, every time I get like a hate message or criticism, I'm like, oh my god, why are they saying these stuff to me? I did nothing wrong, I'm just using my voice and everything, you know what I mean? But it's like it can be very difficult, but also like it's that, sometimes I'm like, I wish I said something back, or I wish I did this, I wish I did that, but it's like it's really just not worth the argument. Like if you say something, just be like, okay, well, okay, that's fine. Like everyone has their own opinions. Like I might not agree with what you said, but everyone has entitled to their own opinions, because everyone has different opinions, and it's okay with that. It's okay to have different opinions. But like, what was the process in writing the civic curriculum for the state of New Jersey?
So, I mean, it wasn't easy. With WILAC, our national board wanted each of our states to take some time to do some research about how the civics, how civics functions within our state and try to come up with a civics curriculum for that. So in New Jersey, it was a lot of research, and national, they didn't want us to do too much, but it's still like, you're writing a little bit of a curriculum here. So you want to take that step to make sure the research you're doing is good, make sure it's accurate, and make sure you're providing enough information. And, I don't think it was super easy writing it. And it's still not finished. There's like a team that works with National that is working on the curriculum that I wrote to expand that and to make it more comprehensive. That way I can actually start using it and helping people learn more about civics.
Ooh, I love that. Like I know, like I'm a big history nerd, so I'm very excited, like civics nerd. So I'm super excited to read it once it comes out because I don't know why, but I literally go like above and beyond with civics. I don't know why, it's very weird. But like how long did it kind of take for you to kind of write it?
So we kind of did this on like a time crunch. It was like we had, I want to say like 3 weeks to
Oh.
write. So it wasn't too bad. It was just like I was a little bit busy in the beginning half. So then I had to get on a time crunch of like, okay, I have to do all this research. I have to have it ready. That way I can give it to National so they can start doing things with it.
Mhm.
Um, so I think it took probably a few weeks, 2 weeks, to get everything, make sure it was good, make sure the resources I had were valid, make sure I was giving them accurate information. That way they could sort of build off of that.
Ooh, that's honestly not bad. Like it's just even if you're like very busy and you make time for that, like in the that like 3 weeks like span, that's honestly awesome though. Like write that in 3 weeks. It's like I know for me, if I had to do something very big like that, I'd be like, I think I need a month. Like I think I need like a larger time frame. But the guy can give you a round of applause for that because that's seriously awesome. But
Thanks.
like the last thing I want to ask you is what is some advice for people that want to get involved in politics or law?
I would say once you have like an inkling that you want to get involved, do it. Like find a local organization, find a national organization that you think represents your views, join it, start advocating for the causes you want, whether that's online, in person, find a group of like-minded individuals, get them together, you know, plan something, do something. Especially if you're young, take that opportunity, make sure your voice is heard, reach out to people, build like connections. Because I know starting out, I didn't really know too many people on like a national scale. And now I have so many great connections with so many different people who have become, lifelong friends because I've joined organizations, I've done work outside of school, extracurriculars that has really helped me build a solid group of people who share the same interest in law and politics. And I think together we've been able to do things that have actually created a lot of great change. And I think it's important that young people who want to get involved as early as they can.
I love that because it like whenever you're in high school or in middle school, like it's very important to really just get involved as early as possible. However, in college, high school, middle school, like no matter how old you are, it's very important to get involved because that experience in your work will help you for your like for future endeavors, whether it's like you're working on law or politics or government or whatever you decide to pursue, like it's very important to get experience, like get as much experience as you can because it will help you for college or for your future opportunities. Any opportunity you will get is very important and very needed. But thank you so much, Maya, for coming on the podcast. Your work is absolutely amazing. I know I say amazing a lot on this podcast. I understand people are like, why you say amazing all the time? But it's seriously so true. But everything you're doing At your age is seriously awesome. It is so much needed, especially in the world right now. So I give you a round of applause for everything you're doing. It means so much, like with everything you do. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I see you guys very soon. And thank you so much, Maya, for coming on. It was great to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here.
Of course. Have a good rest of your day, Maya.
You too.
Bye.